Hi, and welcome to the next in the series of live webinars where we explore how you can use Minecraft in education. My name is Simon Johnson. I'm a former ICT and computing teacher, and I have several years' experience working in education. And I'm also a Minecraft Global Mentor. Now, we're very, very lucky today in that we have a guest host in the name of Cameron Caljo, Australian, has been teaching in the UK for several years now, and he's going to be sharing with us later some of his success stories and some top tips for in the classroom. But before we meet Cameron, I thought I'd just go through what we're going to explore in today's session. So in this week's session, we're going to explore how to manage Minecraft and gameplay within your classroom, because using games in the classroom context brings its own challenges, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. So we're going to look at some of the key world management and classroom settings. We're going to look at some of the features, how to import, save, export worlds, and to manage your lessons. And we'll also explore how to share worlds through Teams, Google Classroom, and also as a URL. So I thought I'd start by exploring how Minecraft works, how does the file system work, and how do you actually save and import your work. So world files work in a similar fashion to other documents with the Microsoft ecosystem. So you're used to open up a .ppt file or pptx and load in loading PowerPoint. You're used to opening a docx document and loading Word. The same works for Minecraft. So Minecraft worlds that you download from the education website have the .mc world extension. Your computer, if Minecraft is installed, will recognize it, and by double clicking on the file, it will automatically import that world into your game. Some things to be aware of. So world files are stored locally on your device after downloading. They're not automatically stored in cloud storage, and I'll talk about ways we can get around that shortly. They're also only saved on the machine you're working on. So if you're in a classroom where the students use the same computers every week, that's fine. But if you're in a situation where maybe you have a laptop trolley and each week the students will take a laptop at random and log in, there is a workflow or strategies that we recommend that you and your students follow at the end of each lesson. We'll look at that in a moment. What that means is that if a student or teacher moves from their usual computer, it means that they won't automatically access the world. So it's not, any work they've created doesn't save in their My Documents or in their cloud storage. But there are some ways around that. So there are a number of ways that you can import world files. You can, as I mentioned before, double click on a world file that's stored locally or been saved in cloud storage or shared area. You can also import them from the main menu. So I'll quickly demonstrate this. So there's a couple of ways of doing this. So here we have Minecraft. So from the main menu, we can click on play, and here we have the import button. And if I click on that, I can then search for any world. So here's a world I've been working on recently, an Iron Bridge build. So I can click on that, click on open, and that will not only import it, but it will also load the game. So that's one way to import files. I also mentioned that you can double click on a file and it will automatically open Minecraft if it's not already open and imports it into your library. So if I go to my worlds now, and there it is, that's the world that I just installed, my Minecraft Iron Bridge project. Now, I mentioned that it's good practice, and as part of your Minecraft workflow, at the end of each lesson, if a child is going to work on a world over several weeks, it's a good idea for them to save their world file in cloud storage, or then my documents. So to do that, we can export the world. Again, there's several ways of doing this. So if I load up Minecraft, I can, if I go to view my worlds, let's say I wanted to save a copy of my Ironbridge project that I want to use for my next lesson, or want to share with some friends who want to work on it outside the classroom. I can either click on the world file like so and go to manage, and then I can export a copy like so, and I'll give it a name, so I can call this Minecraft Ironbridge 2, for example. I see my MC World extension and save that in cloud storage, so OneDrive, Google Drive, or into my documents, like so. You can also manage and export worlds within the world settings. If I go to another world, so let's look at my Egypt project, I can go to my settings. Here I can change the name of the world, so I can call this Ancient Egypt. And it does use this when for the naming convention when saving your worlds. If I scroll down to the bottom, I've got my world management. I can export the world. I can delete the world, but I can also make a copy. Now this is really useful, again, as a workflow tool. If you're working on a project and you're going to make some significant changes, it's always good to make a backup copy, because unfortunately there is no undo in Minecraft. Something I've been asking for ages, if only that was the case, but there's no undo button. So if you make a massive change and it's wrong, then you have to go back to the start. So it's a good idea to back up your worlds before making a major change. And the other useful feature within Minecraft is built into Minecraft are a series of lessons, subject kits. So there are subject kits for maths, for humanities, geography, history, science, computing. These lessons you can share with students through Teams, through Google Classroom, and also as an email. I'll show you these because they're really useful. So if I go back to my world, so if I go back to the main menu and click on play, you have your library. Inside your library you have your subject kits. So you can see we have science, we have math, we have a computer science, social emotional learning as well, which is big at the moment, SEL, art and design. So let's say, for example, I'm doing a science lesson next week and we're looking at chemistry and we're looking at the periodic table. I can find that lesson. So let's look at atomic structures, click on that, and then I can click on assign and share. So it creates a link. I can then choose which tool I want to share it with. So I can share it via Teams as an assignment. I can share it through Google Classroom. And I can also add additional resources. So as long as you have a URL, so it could be a link to a PDF, it could be a link to a OneNote resource or a collaborative Word document, I can post that link in here and it will then add that and share that with the assignment. Now, I said that once you start using games in a classroom context, it brings up lots of new challenges. How do you stop students from playing a game when you want them to focus on the next learning objective or you want them to listen to you? It's really, really difficult. So thankfully, Minecraft has some features built in to make, one, your life easier, and also make the experience much more enjoyable for your students. One of these is the classroom settings. So I'll go into the classroom settings now and show you what that looks like, and I'll also explain what some of these features do. So if I go back into Minecraft and if I go to one of my worlds, so if I go back to the main menu and click on play and click on view my worlds, and let's have a look at the Ironbridge, actually that's the Ancient Egypt one, I've done that for a while, and then click on settings. You've got here on the left hand side, as well as your normal settings here, your world options, you have your classroom settings. So here you've got some special features that will enable and disable certain elements of the game. A couple of things that are really nice. Code Builder, which is switched on by default. This will allow children to code in Minecraft. So in Minecraft Education Edition, you can code using Python, you can code using JavaScript and blocks similar to Scratch. By enabling that, that allows the students to code. And you probably think, well, why do I want to switch that off? Sometimes I find that when children are using the keyboard, they accidentally press the letter C when moving the characters forwards and backwards. This is not a big issue, but what happens when you press the letter C is it loads up code connections, and it also teleports the agent. So the agent is this kind of like Bebot floor roamer, but in Minecraft, and it can get a bit distracting. So sometimes if you do an exploration in ancient Egypt and you don't want this agent to pop up, it's a good idea to turn that off. Another useful feature is always day. So if you're teaching a literacy activity and you want children to write a narrative about their experiences, you don't want that switched on because you want it to become night so they can write about what happens when it gets dark and the hostile mobs are out to get them. But if you're doing an exploration of, again, it's maybe ancient Egypt or Rome or Greece, and it's a fact-finding mission, when it goes dark, you can't see, you can hardly read the writing on the signs and the NPCs, so that can be distraction. So that allows you to turn that on and off. Same for weather. Weather can be great for descriptive writing, narrative writing, because Minecraft can be really immersive, but you don't want it tipping down the rain when students are on a treasure hunt trying to find information. Again, it can be distracting. Another thing that can be distracting is mobs. So mobs stands for mobile, and these are the entities, non-player entities in the game that the students can interact with. So you have non-hostile mobs such as sheep and cows and pigs, and you also have hostile mobs like creepers that are out to get you and try and destroy you and kill you when it gets dark. There's certain circumstances where you'd want them. So, for example, I did a project with some Year 7 students where we explored medieval Britain. And one of the facts that the students learnt about was that the peasants had very small land, very small holdings, hence the word small holding. And because of theft, they would keep their animals inside their house. So the animals, the pigs and the sheep, would actually live inside the little huts with the peasants. So it's great for the students to demonstrate that and actually have the NPCs, the pigs and the animals inside. But then it might be that you're exploring ancient Egypt and you're going into the King Tut's tomb and you don't want to accidentally bump into a llama. So there's opportunities to turn those on and off when you need to. The other one you might want to consider is this: allow destructive items. Children that play Minecraft and know Minecraft will know of a certain item in Minecraft called TNT. There's a term unique to Minecraft called griefing. These are those children that will deliberately go against the grain and want to cause trouble and blow things up and destroy things. These are basically the same children that like to step on ants and pull wings off deadly long legs and legs off spiders. And deliberately or accidentally, they might demolish or destroy your wonderful world. So by turning this on and off, you can stop that from happening, whether it's deliberate or accidental. And as well as destructive items, you also have Immutable World. So I often find that when players or children play Minecraft for the first time, they struggle with interaction. So they struggle with pressing buttons and switching on levers. I have this problem myself. I sometimes get mixed up. And if they're in creative mode, their default mode is to press a button using the left mouse button. And in Minecraft, that will destroy the object. So they'll go up to a lever, press the button, press the left mouse button instead of the right to interact, destroy it, and they can't get into the room. So sometimes it's good if you're just having students explore a world to turn Immutable World on. And I'll explore these in more detail in a moment. Another issue I find in Minecraft is once you start to explore collaboration. Now, traditionally, or in previous versions of Minecraft, when a child would load up their world, whether that's a world that you've shared with them or a world that they've created, it would automatically broadcast that across the network. So theoretically, anyone could join your world. So we'd often have situations where a child would be working on their own, happily working away, and then another child would see their world, join their world, and they might deliberately or accidentally destroy something that child has created, or then they would steal some items from that child's chest. We particularly had issues with SEND children, especially autistic children. So Minecraft and Microsoft have introduced a new feature, and I'll explore this in a moment when we look at classroom mode. So first of all, when a child opens up a world or launches a new world, it no longer broadcasts that on the network, so it's no longer visible to other students. If a child does want to share their world, so they want to work collaboratively with another child or another group of children, it will now automatically generate a 4-digit code. It's 4 images from Minecraft. So even though other children may be able to see that world on the network, they can only join if that child shares the code with the group. Also, if they do share it with a friend and that friend starts to grief or starts to go against the grain, the host, whether it's the teacher or the child, has control, so they can change the permissions and even kick that player out. And then finally, a savior when it comes to managing Minecraft with groups of students is classroom mode. Now, classroom mode is not built into Minecraft. You have to download this separately, but it's available from the Minecraft website. If you go to education.minecraft.net and just search for classroom mode, you can download this for free. And with this, you can control all the students in your world. So I'm going to demonstrate this now. So I'm going to load my world. So this is my Egyptian world. So I'm going to click on play. And once it's loading, I'll launch classroom mode. So this will only work if you, the teacher, hosting the world. So it might be that you want a small group of children that you want to monitor or work with and support, or it could be the whole class working on a world that you've created, exploring together, or it might be an escape room where they have to work together to solve clues in order to escape certain rooms. Now, when you launch Minecraft and you launch the classroom mode, the first thing you need to do is, here we go. So you've got this code here. It says /connect, and it has your IP address. Now, with the new version of Minecraft, you have to do this. It's a pain, but you only have to do it once. So you launch classroom mode, and you click on this copy. So this will copy that code. You don't have to remember it, which is good. So click on copy, like so, and then I can minimize that. And then in my world, so imagine I want to share this with the rest of the class, and I want all the children to work collaboratively to find the hidden entrance to King Tut's tomb and find the secret treasure. So from my world, I go press escape to bring my settings, and then I click on this block here with the 4 faces. This is the multiplayer, excuse me, and I click on start hosting. And I say yes. So this will then broadcast this across the network, so other people now can see my world and join if they wish. But to do that, they have to have this 4-digit code, and you can resend that. So there's my code. And then anyone that wants to join has to enter this code exactly into their machine, and then they can join. But then as the host as well, I can also change the permissions of those people that join, so they can be a visitor, so they can just fly around and view my world. They can be a member, and they can do everything they do normally in Minecraft, so they can create and build and destroy blocks. And we can also make them an owner. So they can add or remove permissions as well. So I've started sharing my world. And then the next thing I need to do is bring up the chat. So to do that, you press the letter T on your keyboard. And remember that code that I copied from the other screen? If I press Control and V on my keyboard, it will then paste that code in here. And then I either press Enter or the Go button. And then what that does, it establishes a connection between your computer that you're sharing with the class and Code Connections. So if I bring up Code Connections, Classroom mode, so bring up Classroom mode. So now I can see my map, and now I've only got one player in at the moment. So if I just use my scroll wheel to zoom out, so we've got the pyramids here. Now, once I've got this activated, there's a number of things you can do. So the first one is, I mentioned earlier, how do you stop children from playing the game? Imagine you say that everyone's engaged because Minecraft is immersive, they're completely engaged in the game. It could be they're in survival mode and then trying to build their rudimentary shelter before it gets dark and to shelter from the elements and protect them from the hostile mobs. And you say, stop, I want you to look this way and listen to me. You know they're not going to stop. No matter how good you are with classroom management, some of them are still going to be playing because they're totally immersed. So the great thing with this is if I just maximize, I'll click on this here, these three little lines. I believe it's called the hamburger. I don't know why. I suppose it's got different layers like a burger, but there you are. So you click on the hamburger, and the first thing I can do is I can pause the game. So everyone will see this on their screen. The game is paused. They can't move. They can't press the keyboard. The only thing they can do is quit out the game. The other thing you can do is switch on or off comments and chat. I often get asked by teachers, how can we turn off chat or how can we monitor chat? Chat can be really useful, especially when the children are working collaboratively. I was working in a school in Telford recently where the children were building a new bridge. So local to them was Iron Bridge, and Iron Bridge was built to, as kind of a statement piece to say this is what we can build using modern technology and with iron. So I challenged them to build a new bridge to cross the River Severn to represent 21st century Britain or 21st century Telford. So I think one group was creating a bridge that resembled a mobile phone. I think someone else created a bridge that resembled an Xbox controller. But what was really nice was without any motivation from me or instruction from me, the students kind of working really well collaboratively, and they had like a team leader, and the team leader was sending messages through the chat, which is really, really useful. But obviously, like any chat system, like Teams or Google Classroom, it can be abused. So in certain circumstances, you have the ability to turn on or off that chat within that world. I also mentioned you can turn on and off weather. So again, great for immersion, for narrative writing, but can be a distraction. Same with mobs. So you can turn on or off mobs. You can also turn off and on TNT. So TNT is a destructive item. So it might be a child experimenting with TNT or knows it's using TNT and just wants to destroy your world. By turning that off, it means that they can't accidentally or deliberately destroy anything in your world. And then there's this called the Immutable World. This is really useful, and I mentioned about interaction. I'll demonstrate that now. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to place a switch. Let's have a door. So I'm just going to put a door in to demonstrate why this is useful. Let's have an iron door. And I'm going to have a lever, like so. And I'm going to quickly build me a door, just like they would have in Egypt. Ooh, I've got Immutable World on. So if I just escape that and go back to my controls, and then turn that off, and back to my game. So I'm going to build my door. And to operate my door, I would use a lever. Now in Minecraft, interact with something, whether it's an NPC, a lever, button, I press my right mouse button. But as I mentioned before, especially for new players, and I do this myself sometimes, I just forget and go into autopilot because I'm used to pressing the left mouse button to open a document or like a Word document or select something. I will press my left button to open the lever and I accidentally destroy it. And I've got no way of getting through that door now. So what you can do if you're having the students explore the world, and it's like a treasure hunt or a fact-finding mission, or it's their first few attempts in the game, to make it easier and more intuitive, what I can do is I can go to my classroom mode, and this is also one of the options I mentioned in the settings. I can turn on Immutable World like so, and then as if the child goes up and presses the left mouse button, they can press as many times as they like and they won't accidentally destroy that switch. So it's really, really useful. And again, I've got to escape and go to my settings and go to my classroom settings like so. You can also set that up in the game settings. So when you share the world with a child, you can also set Immutable World on or off in the settings there. And then the final really useful tool within Minecraft is you're always going to have students go and wander off. Minecraft is an open world, and as such, some of these worlds are really, really large. So you could have students, and I'll just demonstrate that now. I'm going to go and wander off. So you imagine going on a trip in Minecraft, imagine the risk assessment, but I'm going to fly off because I'm that kind of child, and you know who that child is, and I'm going to disappear over there, ignore the pyramids, and say, oh, I'm going to go and speak to this person over here. So what you can do as a teacher, as you are running a session, you can monitor the map and say, oh, where's Simon gone? He's over here. Simon shouldn't be there. Simon should be over at the pyramid talking to Howard Carter. So I can right-click on the map and I can teleport my players to where they should be. And I can also click and drag players to where they should be as well. So if it's just that one person, I can bring them there. It's also great if you want to move on to the next objective. So you can type a message into the chat to everyone. So objective 2, find the entrance to the Great Pyramid. This could be reinforce the learning objectives or learning outcomes. You can send that to all the students, and then you can right click, teleport everyone so they're ready for the next checkpoint. So if I go back to my world, I'm outside the pyramid, and there is Howard Carter ready for my next challenge. So Classroom mode is a great tool to support and manage students playing games and Minecraft. And before we move on to Cameron, I just want to mention a few other strategies you can use as well, and I'm sure Cameron will be able to elaborate on some of these. Some general advice when using games, in particular Minecraft. First of all, don't be afraid to let your students teach you. I made the mistake early on in my teaching that I should be the font of all knowledge, especially when it came to computing. One, that's impossible. But also it's not very healthy. There's going to be times when your students are going to know more than you, especially when it comes to Minecraft. So use that opportunity and leverage that power and empower your students to be leaders when it comes to using tools like Minecraft. Obviously also allow time for reflection with anything new. Also don't go mad. I've known teachers that have had fantastic successes, and Cameron's going to explore some of these in a moment with Minecraft. I thought, right, this is the answer to everything. Minecraft is not panacea, so don't go start doing every single lesson in Minecraft, because one, your students are not going to appreciate that, and they're going to get bored of it after a while. Also set clear expectations and some ground rules. Now, when I first started teaching, my mentor said it's a good idea to let your students come up with the classroom rules and the consequences. Now, I thought my mentor was running a practical joke and setting up for a fall, but I thought I'd try it. But I was really surprised at how well the students did this. They came up with some really great classroom rules, but also their consequences were far stricter than anything that I could ever come up with. One, you're giving them ownership of the learning, but also if they do break the rules, they're breaking their own rules and have to deal with their own consequences. It's really, really powerful. And finally, let go. Minecraft is great for encouraging independent learning and also allowing children to fail. We need in the classroom to allow children to fail more and then learn from those experiences. It's quite difficult to teach. I imagine putting around to SLT and saying, I think we should allow our children to fail, but it's really powerful. We wouldn't learn to walk if we didn't fail and then learn from experience. The great thing with games is that children are used to failing in games, so you might come to the end, you might die, but they know they're going to respawn and they can try that level again and they can try different strategies. You'll even see children watching YouTube videos to find ways to get better at beating different levels, and let them explore themselves and work collaboratively. So a couple of strategies I use is see 3 before me. So see 3 other, ask 2 other friends or 3 other friends before asking the teacher, and also SNOT, self, neighbour, other, teacher. So try and work out yourself, then ask a neighbour, other, and then teacher. I did try SNOG, which is self, neighbour, other, Google, but that didn't work as well. So don't try that one. So I mentioned at the start, we're very, very lucky today in that we've also got a guest host. So we have Cameron Caljo from Richmond Academy, part of the Stay Academy Trust. So Cameron's Australian. He's been teaching in the UK for 7+ years, and he's extremely passionate about using technology, in particular using game-based learning and Minecraft to enhance teaching and learning. Cameron is a Minecraft innovative expert educator, MCE certified, and he's also a fellow Minecraft Global Mentor. Cameron would like to share with you some of the success stories he's had in the classroom and some tips and tricks to help you get started managing Minecraft in the classroom. So over to you, Cameron.
Thank you, Simon. So the first thing I want to do is just go through some tips for your own practice, and I'll be echoing some of the things that Simon has said. So be prepared to take those risks. Because if you assume it won't work and you don't give it a try, it's definitely never going to work if you're not going to give it a go. So really make sure, you plan it and not go crazy, as Simon said. We don't want it in every single lesson. But if you're planning for something in a lesson, give it a go. If it doesn't work, just like any classroom practice we do, if something doesn't work, we reflect on it and we try again in a different way. So be prepared to take those risks just like you would in any other lesson. And the really good thing that we've seen, as I said, we're from primary school. We're primary schools, and in our trust we have 8 schools with us, and we're rolled out Minecraft predominantly to year 3 and 4 initially, and that's where our focus is at the moment. So we're talking 7 and 8-year-old children, and it's been really powerful to see how much those pupils want to learn and the engagement that they have, and the excitement they have to be able to use Minecraft in their learning. And for first and foremost, that engagement helps with that classroom management side of things straight away, particularly with the younger ones. They're so excited by the fact that they're doing something in Minecraft, they forget, A, that they're learning, but they still learn, and B, they forget about all the other things they could be doing and wandering off and going and doing other things. 90% of them will just focus on exactly what you've asked them to do, purely because they're so excited to play in Minecraft and use Minecraft as a tool in the classroom. And as it says there, they're completely absorbed in their learning. And the outcomes, and this is where your professional practice comes in and your planning comes into it, you need to make sure that you tailor it to your needs and make sure your children's needs are met, and make sure it's just structured, neat presentation, quicker productivity. And we found that across all 8 schools, and I'll talk about a couple of examples in just a moment, that the outcomes from when we're using Minecraft versus when we're not, the outcomes are neater, they happen more quickly once they've gotten used to the app and the game itself, and they've got more structure in their learning, and it's really clear to see their learning journey a lot better than if they were writing in books or using another method. So one of the teachers we've had that I've been working with quite closely in year 4 at another school did a little trial experiment, and they were doing a project that required some sort of display at the end of it, and they used, half the class used Minecraft in a creative way, and half the class were given any other option, and majority of them chose posters. And as a teacher, and I'm sure all the teachers out there will know that as soon as a child decides to do a poster, they spend 85% of the time doing a really, for want of a better word, poor picture. And then at the end, when they realise they don't have much time left, they're quickly writing something down as quick as they can to make sure the information's on there. And generally, posters don't come out well presented 99% of the time in any class, in any school. And they found that. They found that the children that were doing the posters spent 90% of their time colouring in, making the pictures nice. Oh, I want to include this picture because it's going to be really cool. And then scrounging around to get that information down on that poster at the end. And then the ones that were working in Minecraft were really keyed in on exactly what they wanted to do and exactly how they wanted to show their learning. And what they ended up doing was, for the first 10 minutes, they didn't even touch Minecraft. They just planned it out naturally, without any direction from the teacher. They planned out what they were going to do. They're going to have this information in there. I'm going to have this picture or build this statue and these images in Minecraft, and this is how we're going to do it. And they went and did that. And the teacher found that the people in Minecraft spent some time planning to start with, but still ended up finishing quicker than those doing posters. Their presentation was obviously neater because you're not using pencils and paper trying to colour in the lines. Minecraft takes away that risk, if you like, where they build those blocks, and once they're set in the right place, they're not going to scribble out of the lines. And they made sure that their information was down. So we worked in collaboration in this project in pairs. One person was doing the building, and one person was putting boards and posters up in front of it, clearly explaining what the learning was and clearly explaining the key facts they wanted to get across. And they then took screenshots and did screen recordings of them explaining what they did. And so it was quicker on Minecraft, and the outcome was, I'd say, at least 300% better, purely because the presentation structure was there and they'd included all the key information they needed to do. So that was a really key point in my journey myself, leading Minecraft within our trust, to see that actually, yes, this is having a really positive impact on children, even as young as 7 and 8 there. So another thing we're doing tomorrow with World Book Day coming up, I'm going to share my screen in just a moment to show you some really good examples. We are designing, the children have picked their favourite books and they're designing their book in Minecraft. Some of them have already finished this. I'm going to share my screen in just a moment. There it comes now. Hopefully this works. Yes, I do want to share my screen. So they're designing their favourite book in Minecraft, doing the front cover of the book. What we're going to end up doing at the end of it is, sorry, bear with me. Here we go. What they're going to do at the end of it is tomorrow in World Book Day, you can see here this one's a Roald Dahl, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They worked in pairs. They realised we're not going to be able to build all the wording into that size screen there, so they've just done the C and the C. Really clear, you can see it's Roald Dahl. What they're doing tomorrow is they're then going to screen record themselves flying through that. They're going to have a little gap in the middle, fly through it. On the other side, they've got all the things that made that book exciting to them. They're going to screen record themselves flying through the front cover and then explaining all those different things, all the different elements of that story that made it really exciting to them. So that's one way that it's been really effective as well, is engage them in different ways. Because when we think of a reading lesson, we think of read a book, write some notes down, or text mark a page. But actually, this is immersing them in Minecraft in a different way and immersing them in their learning, but getting more effective results out of them. Because for them to be able to articulate it, if you're getting them to do the same text marking skills or writing the same things down or answering questions every day, they're doing the same thing over and over again. That becomes just another day of doing the same thing. But doing it this way, it engages them more. They're getting excited about their learning. They're really having to think about what it is they want to say. I'm going to show you another example of an EAL student. So English is not his first language. He's not the best writer in the class. And he went into the College of Art, which is a world available in the library on Minecraft, and we did that. And what we found was this child really engaged with what he was doing. He immersed himself in it and then went the extra mile without any prompts from adults. And this is what we found with a lot of the children, is they will do that. They'll go that extra mile if you let them. If you let them go off and do it, they will really engage and really immerse themselves and go that extra distance. So he went into the College of Art and he went to the colour wheel section. And in the colour wheel section, you immerse yourself in different aspects of the colour wheel, like analogous colours, colours near each other on the colour wheel and things like that. And then you have a go at using those colours yourself. And so we had in our thing here in the Colour Lake, they took a screenshot and an image of their work once they'd explained it and explored it. And then they had to explain what that showed at the end. And you can see here, this student has labelled his work as well. He's labelled his artwork. So he's gone that extra mile. He's really proud of his work there. You can clearly see that in his work. Then he's gone on, he's clearly done some research and he's really understood the topics because he's been able to explain what analogous colours are here. And this one here, triadic colours. And I went back and looked at this, and then he says here, triadic colours are bright, vibrant colours, and they are bright because they involve three colours equidistant from each other on the colour wheel. I went and had a look at that, and equidistant is not a word that was mentioned in that section. So he's gone and he's realised that it's equal distance away from each other on the colour wheel, and he's gone and researched that vocabulary. What other word could I use there instead? So actually, for an EAL student whose English is not his first language, he's not a high ability writer, to be able to independently go and grab those higher level vocab words by himself without any support from adults was amazing. I only dropped, we use iPads in our class, I only dropped my iPad at that point in time when I read through that and thought, oh my God, where's that come from? So I was thinking about how you can engage them and get the most out of them. And I think one of the things that we talk about to our teachers as well is think about the final outcome. What do you want them to show you at the end? And that's the really key and important thing. Don't just set them off on Minecraft and go, okay, here's a world, go and explore that and tell me what you find. Really hone in on what it is you want them to achieve. Because if you do that and you think about that, just like with any planning, you're going to be successful. And you've got to be prepared to do things differently. One thing we found, and I found this difficult initially as well, was to understand that you're going to have different things than what you normally would as outcomes. So when we started looking at science, using Minecraft in our science lessons, we found initially when you think about a scientific report, everybody would say paragraph for results, paragraph for method, a paragraph introduction, so on and so on. Just a bunch of writing is a scientific report. And that was really hard initially as a teacher to step away from and go, actually, do they need a paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraph of writing? Is that going to be the most effective way for them to show their understanding? But using Minecraft, we were able to complete experiments in there. We used our topic was water. We used some experiments through that in groups, collaborating. I think my OneNote's going a bit slow there. And they took pictures as they were working through the experiment. Every time they did the next part of the experiment, they take a picture to bring back and put in their results. And then they do a little side note of what that picture showed, what part of the experiment it showed. They did their aims, they did their hypothesis, just like a normal scientific report. Then they had the pictures from Minecraft with a sentence explaining what happened, and they had an audio recording at the end as a discussion. Now initially, if I showed that to someone who wasn't in my classroom, they straight away said, that's not a scientific report. But actually, it is. And they've used the key vocabulary in there, and that's what we need them to do. We want them to be able to report their findings, find a result, and discuss what their result showed. And I do apologise because for some reason that's not working right now. So I'm going to stop presenting for a moment. So that was really an eye-opener as well, thinking about the outcomes need to be different to traditional methods. Because if we're moving to technology-based learning and gamification and learning through play, the outcomes are going to be different to what we're normally used to, where it's writing in paragraphs. So really be prepared to take those risks, plan ahead to what those outcomes are going to be. And the last thing I just want to share with you before I hand back to Simon is a world that I've been using in my classroom, we've been using across our trust in all 8 schools. Very similar to the classroom mode that Simon just showed you. But for us in our trust, we use iPads as our technology method. So we haven't got laptops and computers for everyone. We have iPads for each student. So obviously the classroom mode app running alongside Minecraft on an iPad can prove a bit difficult. So what we've done, and I'm going to try and share my screen one last time. Hopefully this works. So what we've done is came up with this world. And I can't take all the credit for it because I didn't make this world entirely myself. But I found this world and adapted it slightly that does most of the things that classroom mode does within the actual world itself. So let me just see if I can load this up. Oops. And it's again very similar to what Simon was talking about in terms of working collaboratively. So all the students will join your world through a join code that Simon spoke about. So what we tend to do is when they come in from lunch or come in from break time, they will serve up on the screen the join code, and they will go onto their iPads, join onto that world, and go into their own set area. I do apologise, Simon. I might hand back to you for just a moment.
Yeah, that's fine.
It works for you. My Minecraft has just crashed. I'm just going to reload that and come back to me in 2 minutes, and we'll be all good.
So whilst we're trying to load that world, we have got a question. And the question is, do you teach Year 9? And if so, what do you recommend as your first go-to activity, or how would you start with them using Minecraft?
Okay, so I don't teach Year 9 itself. I teach Year 3, 4 at the moment. So 7 and 8-year-old children. But I have taught secondary school previously in Australia. And what I would recommend, when I show you this world, I'm going to show you some really good examples of how you can use this world effectively, not just for the students for outcomes, but also for assessment for learning. So I think to start off with, if they haven't played Minecraft before, you need to allow time for them to understand the game controls, understand how to use it, how to explore, how to talk to people, all those sorts of things, how to open doors. So if they break the lever like Simon showed, they're in trouble. And then once they've got those basic skills of Minecraft, then they can start exploring and looking at those different elements within it and those different outcomes that you want. So I'd definitely say start off small and work your way up. Initially, when I first started using Minecraft, I threw myself in the deep end and went not the full kabang, but I jumped in with big worlds, lots of things going on in them. And I'd say to start with, keep it really simple. And don't use worlds that have a range of different things going on that are going to distract your children. So when I design my own worlds now, and we're not saying everyone has to because I've been doing this for a while now, but when I do that, I make sure I start with a blank world with no distractions at all, because you're always going to have those 1 or 2 children that get distracted by a fly flying past them in the classroom. You're going to have that. If they have it in Minecraft where they see a tree up in the distance, well, I wonder what tree that is. They'll go and walk for 5 minutes to try and find this giant tree in the background, and it won't necessarily be effective learning at that point. So I'm going to share my screen in just a moment because it's just building the terrain now. So I'm going to try and share my screen just to show you this world, because I think we're going to have this world shared as a part of the training package that comes out afterwards as well. So hopefully you can see this now. So in this world, all the students, when they join, will start in this lobby here. And over here, we have some helpers here for how to record their learning. So how to use Book and Quill. If they're not sure how to use that, or if you're using that in your classroom and they can't remember, you can talk to Kristen and she'll teach you how to use that. So just some how-tos there to screen record, 3D export, and screen capture your work. And what this world does is it gives everyone their own separate area. So they all work in the same world, but working independently on their own tasks. So what they do is you've got 30 different areas here with pressure plates here. And they go onto a pressure plate. They will then be transported to one of these areas out here, these blocks of grass out here. Blank blocks of grass. And you can see these slight lines on my screen here that block them in. So they can't actually go anywhere else. They can't fly over and go to anywhere else at that point. So they've all got their own space to work in. And what this world does is you can set them off in here. So even for a Year 9 group of students, if they're working with fractions, for example, you might have some questions on the board where you can say, okay, show me what 5/16 look like. And straight away you can get them all in there. They go in, they show you what 5/16 looks like. You can see straight away who understands fractions and who understands what a 5/16 is and who doesn't and who you need to work with. So the assessment for learning is immediate and they're all going to be engaged. Whereas normally when they come in straight after lunch, they're still talking. They take about 5 or 10 minutes to settle down because they're so excited about what they've done at lunchtime. So that here is one really good way that they can use this world. And I find that you can also have 2 or 3 people in each area working collaboratively, so they don't all have to be independent. And you can use this world for any type of build that you want them to do. And the best part about this world that I absolutely love, and it's very similar to classroom mode that Simon was talking about earlier, is you can go in here to this teacher only area. It's like the staff room, if you like. You can talk to the robot here, and I'll take you to the control center. And again, in here, which is really lovely, is you have all those options, very similar to what Simon showed you in the control center. So you can remove all the barriers and turn on world builder mode so that all the students can move freely around all the different areas. You can return them all to the lobby. So again, very similar to the teleporting there. You can look at structure blocks. You can gain their full attention. So where Simon's classroom mode app pauses the game for everybody, if you do this, click this in here, which is really useful for our iPads because we don't have the option to run 2 things simultaneously through it. It puts all their screens black, but they can't move, they can't build, and they know then that their attention's there. So again, similar to that way, and they can't do anything in there at all. So it's really powerful in this world that you can literally go into the staff room and turn any of these on. I can give them all book and quills, I can give them all a portfolio and a camera if I want to, so straight away without them having to go into the itinerary and find them, and then you have all of these, have 2 or 3 children that haven't got them because they weren't listening or whatnot. I can just give them to them straight away. And then I can come back here, and then if I go into the commands and I put in, oops, that's Code Builder, I do apologize. I put in World Builder and go into World Builder, that allows me to then remove the barriers for me as a teacher, and I can go around and I can fly around, help other people with their work in game, check what they're doing, make sure they're on task. And again, I can explore and go through and see it that way. So I think this world would be a really good place to start for whatever your outcome needs to be. If you wanting them to build something or design something, this is a great way to do it. If you want to do some assessment for learning, just a really quick check, or to do their work in here, I find that for maths it's a really good tool. Minecraft is so powerful for maths. We always have a group of students working on Minecraft, showing their learning through Minecraft in whatever way they need to. Obviously, if you're going through a story mode and doing the information gathering or the treasure hunt side of things, this obviously isn't the world for that. But the rest of it, I think this is a really positive world to start in because it gives those students those parameters and those limits. And you can see that there was nothing else in there apart from their green pastures, nothing to distract them. They can't go anywhere else unless you allow them to. And it's really, really powerful.
I love that world, Cameron.
It's wonderful, that world.
And I know what you mean about distractions. Any teacher worth their salt knows what it's like on a windy day, or if they have a wasp or spider in their classroom.
All the spiders always get you.
Do we have any other questions from the chat before we move on?
No questions.
Perfect. I think I love that world for many reasons. For the fact that it removes distractions and also allows you to have control over what's going on in the classroom. I have taught Year 9, and in response to the question about where would I start, I'd agree with Cameron. I'd start with the controls and the tutorials. So if I just share my screen quickly. I made the mistake when I first started using Minecraft in the classroom and thinking that because some of my students were experts, that they would automatically pick up Minecraft and be able to run with it. But I found that even the experts in my classroom, their experience was mainly using the Pocket Edition, so the iPad or Xbox, using the game controller, or using a console. So they found using the keyboard and mouse alien to them. So like Cameron said, the first thing I would do as a teacher and with the students is have them explore the controls. So from the main menu, if you go to play and go to view library and then go to how to play, there's some tutorials. So there's tutorials, the Pocket Edition, if you have a touchscreen device like an iPad, but there's also tutorials for the keyboard. So definitely start off with movement and place and break and interact, and then finish off with the camera and portfolio. So that's great for making notes and exporting photos and notes to OneNote or to a collaborative Word or PowerPoint document. Also, depending on what subject you're teaching, if you go to the view library, you've also got the subject kits, so you can explore the different subjects and find lessons to get started. I find an easy win for literacy is I often say, how can you ask a child to write about something they never experienced? Minecraft's great because it's fully immersive. It gives them they can see and hear what's going on around them, so you can put them into a simple world. So you can have the students just go to create new, go to new, and create a survival world, and then have them survive for 20 minutes, which is a day in Minecraft, and try and build a rudimentary shelter to protect themselves from the elements and to protect themselves from the hostile mobs, and then stop them, have them write about what they did, what they saw, how they felt when it started to rain or thundered and lightning and it started to go dark and the hostile mobs were going towards them, and that to try and finish their build. Or write about what they see, like this strange waterfall, or the animals or creatures they've interacted with. So it's a really easy, quick win into Minecraft. So if you've enjoyed this session, and thank you, Cameron, that was absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to have to steal your world. If you've enjoyed this session and you want to find out more, we've put together some resources for you. So first of all, you can head over to education.minecraft.net. Here you'll find getting started guide. You can download Minecraft for the different platforms for iPad, Mac, laptop, Chromebook. You can also, if you use social media, you can tweet us at PlayCraftLearn. If you want to find out about the future sessions, so we've got a number more sessions on classroom collaborative mode, also looking at curricula, so looking at maths, computing, and numeracy and science. If you go to aka.ms/Minecraft edu activities, we'll share this in the chat, and we'll also share this in the YouTube playlist a little later, so you can find out about sign up for the next sessions. If you want to find out more and you want to get certified like myself and Cameron, you can head over to the Minecraft Education Edition Teacher Academy. Again, we'll share this in the chat and share this later in the playlist. And also, we've recently set up a new community for UK educators. So here you get access to resources, news and updates about build challenges and competitions. We've got some really awesome competitions and some great prizes coming up shortly. And also support from other educators and experts. And that's aka.ms/Minecraft EDU UK community. And then finally, next week, we're looking at social and emotional. So social and emotional learning is a big topic in schools at the moment. So we'll be exploring in the next session how you can use Minecraft to support social and emotional learning. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next in our series of Minecraft education webinars.